Hello, this is Abby from Witchcraft and Criminal History. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. This video, as you see, is titled I Don't Like Mondays and Brenda Spencer. When you hear the term school shootings, you think of Columbine. But you do not think of Grover Cleveland Elementary School shooting, which occurred in 1979. And it was, the shooter was a 16-year-old girl named Brenda Spencer, who lived in a house directly opposite the school. And you probably know the famous song by Boomtown Rats called I Don't Like Mondays. And like, I don't like Mondays, tell me why I don't like Mondays. You probably recognize, the song. And not many people know that it was actually inspired by Brenda Spencer. Brenda Spencer was born on the 3rd of April 1962. And she lived in San Carlos, neighborhood of, San Diego in California. And as I said, she lived opposite to Grover Clover Elementary School. She was, like I said, she was 16 at the time she went on a shooting spree. She was a young 16, long red hair with glasses. In 1978, regrettably, her father gave her presents for her Christmas presents. He gave her, in his infinite wisdom, he gave her a Ruger 1022 semi-automatic and a .22 caliber rifle with a telescope sight, along with 500 rounds of ammunition. And you might figure, what kind of father would do this? Like, even in the US, what kind of father will buy his child a gun? But he didn't buy one gun, he bought a couple of guns, and one had a telescope sight. Like, even with me, like, why? But he did. There was suspicions that he was sexually being abusive towards his daughter, Brenda. And because their parents, they're divorced and she was living with her father. Until this day, her mother believes that her father should be in jail, not Brenda. It was on Monday morning when she decided to go on a shooting spree. She actually played hooky. If you want to know what hooky is means not going to school. So it was Monday morning on January the 29th, 1979. And she was literally, in her room. I think she was decked out in, military outfits, all black with a beanie. And she stayed in her room. And she actually, from her room, from her window, used the guns which her father gave her for a Christmas present, and was actually aiming towards the gates of the elementary school, across the road. She was waiting for Principal Burton Ragg to come along and open the gate. And as soon as he did, he was shot and killed. And right after that, because this was like I said, this was in the morning, kids were coming to school. In my country, this would be considered, a primary school, because we don't have elementary, we do not have junior high, high school, we don't have that. We just have primary and high school. So it'd be equivalent of a primary school. If you're not, in the US. And as soon as kids started going in there, she started shooting at kids. And she injured quite a few children. And one guy, his name was Mike Schumer. I think it's a Schumer or Schumer or something like that. I can't really pronounce his last name. If you ask me, this guy is a hero. This guy is well and truly a hero. And if you ask me, the American government should definitely give him something or give his family something. Well, mainly his family, because regrettably he was shot and killed by Brenda Spencer. And the reason why I said this guy was a hero was that I think that he was also retired military. And this guy, I think he was like a caretaker or groundskeeper of the school. Or as a custodian. Yeah, he was a custodian, yeah. And he knew the risks, and he ran outside, grabbed as many children as he possibly could who were, injured by Brenda Spencer, and take them inside. So he was going in, out, trying to save as many children, as many lives as he possibly can. And when he came out to get Principal Burton Ragg, he was fatally shot and killed. So he literally gave his life to save as many lives as possible. And if you ask me, his family should definitely get an award for it. He should definitely get an award. And, Brenda Spencer, continued shooting at the kids. She shot at police when the police arrived. She actually shot some of the police. But thankfully none of the police officers were killed. Some of them were injured, but they weren't killed. And the police were eventually able to get hold of Brenda. And she, the police negotiators, was talking to her to try and get her to, stop what she was doing, turn herself in. And when, she eventually I think they actually stormed the house and they were able to get her after they were talking to her for the phone, because reporters were actually assisting the police to tell Brenda Spencer how to turn herself in. And like I said, she eventually did turn herself in. And when they found her, she apparently wasn't appeared to be intoxicated, even though they found beer and whiskey bottles cluttered around the house. But whether those bottles were Brenda's or her father's is up to debate. And, they took her in. And what's unusual with this, even though this was the first school shooting, was that Brenda Spencer never tried to commit suicide. She never tried to commit suicide. And as you know, with nearly every single school shooting, whether it's done by another pupil or outside force, the shooter generally commits suicide. And same as just general, shootings in general. Like if you go and shoot up your workplace, the person who's doing the shooting usually shoots himself. Or it's suicide by cop. So that was a little bit unusual with Brenda Spencer. When the police, asked her, what was going on, why she did it, she reportedly said, "I don't like Mondays." And that's where the song got its name, "I Don't Like Mondays." So she sort of, come out shooting. On April 4th, 1980, this was the day just before her birthday, before her 17th birthday, she was sentenced to life imprisonment for 2 counts of murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Later on during, in her imprisonment, they diagnosed her with epilepsy and depression. And she's been coming up to parole quite a few times, but she has never ever been, successful to go on parole, even though, she is applicable for parole, but she's never been successful. So she's still in prison to this day. And one thing what I really find very, very interesting, in regards to Brenda Spencer, that it seems to be a common occurrence with shooters that they are having a form of mental illness, usually in the form of depression. That, it's self-destruction. It's pretty much like, if I'm going down, you guys are going to go down. I'm going to take as many people down with me, and I don't give a crap. And that is pretty much how they think, how they feel. They just want to hurt as many people as possible and take themselves down with them. Yeah, I just got the amount of people who were injured, but they survived. She shot 9 other people. These are police and children. So, 9 were injured, 2 were killed. And not many people, know about Brenda Spencer, and there's really not really that much information about Brenda Spencer. But it was definitely a miracle that she wasn't, a better shot, because if she was a better shot, she would have killed a lot more. And to her, it was a planned attack. She was literally waiting for the kids to come to school. She was planning it, she was waiting for it, and she just shot at as many children as possible. And her excuse was, "I don't like Mondays." If you ask me, that's a very sad excuse. Why he kill people? Like, oh, why did he do it? I don't like Mondays. Heck, I think a lot of us don't like Mondays. But do we go out shooting people? No. We might get Mondayitis, where you're just like, oh, I don't want to be here. It's all, can we just have the weekend still? You get that, but, and your brain gets all airy-fairy. And you do silly things on a Monday. But you wouldn't go on a shooting spree. But yeah, this is a very, very interesting case. So yeah, that's a video on Brenda Spencer. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and blessed be.